So anyway, if, the Cobra King would have been named, or it was C Company, and so I came up with a way of honoring the Cobra King and my girlfriend by calling it Calamity Jane. Alright, so let's take a look at the axles. Mark helped me make these axles. I forget what kind of steel it is, but it's harder on the outside than it is on the inside. We cut the rod to length. We made the axles about 2 inches longer than stock axles to accommodate the clearance for the tracks. Alright, so I ordered decals for the turret and the hull, and this decal is a, I believe it's 5-inch decal or 6-inch decal, I forget. And it stuck great, right to the metal. It worked like a charm. Unfortunately, the decal I ordered for the hull would not bond with the paint on the hull, which is made out of plywood. So I ended up ordering an 8-inch star stencil and spraying it. So there's a little bit of overspray, but that actually makes it a little more like the real thing. Okay. The flag I just added today. We have an American flag at the top with a POW MIA flag right underneath. It's a 6-foot fiberglass pole. I just mounted it to the exterior. It has a quick disconnect so that I can remove it pretty easily for transport. The engine cover is made up of 2 vents that I bought at Home Depot. I think they were 24 by 24 inch. I say they probably, I have at least 6 times the amount of ventilation as the original Attex cover came with. Okay, I picked up this 16 horsepower engine about 2 or 3 years ago on Craigslist for about 300 bucks. This weekend I rerouted the exhaust. Actually, my brother-in-law did that for me. It's just copper pipe. I'm hoping that the solder will hold. If it doesn't, then I'll probably just rivet it together. The shroud I made out of sheet metal, a very thin, like ventilation stock. I cut a cardboard template first, got the shape I want so that it would vent the air outside the engine compartment and up through the grate. Then this metal barrier, this little sheet metal I just added this afternoon. I noticed it was getting a little warm in the driver's compartment and perhaps a little gassy, so I thought maybe adding this shield would reduce the amount of heat and the airflow reading from the engine compartment into the turret. It actually, I felt like it made a difference today. Battery box. I don't think I can mount the cover, but I don't think I need the cover. I'm not going to be going all that fast in this thing. Here we are looking in as I'm standing on the right set of tracks. There's the driver's seat. Let's see, on the floor, I ended up making a floor pan because I figured one less thing I need to worry about is where my shoelaces are dangling. Okay, so now I'm standing on the left track, looking down to the turret on the opposite side of the tank. This is a control panel that I found on eBay, and I've driven some armored personnel carriers and they use the same kind of control panel. Here is the turret hatch opened. Right now you're looking at the back side of the periscope, and to the left and right of it are the holes for the fans. I made these lines so they could be quickly disconnected, so that if I have to remove the turret, I don't have to unwire anything. I just unplug it. I made it extra long, so I think I could probably get 2 or 3 revolutions on the turret before it would be too tight, where I'd have to worry about the wires getting pulled out. So there's a lot of slack in that ribbon wire for the purpose of making the turret be able to spin around and around without putting too much tension on the wires. The main gun is just a piece of PVC that is mounted to a base that I made by using a giant hole saw to cut a nice big circular disc or 2. And it is basically mounted to the turret by a 9-inch bolt that goes through the turret. It goes through the plastic cap on the PVC. And if you look, I think you might be able to see there's like a little shiny reflection. I can see it, but oh, there it is. That's the bolt for the main gun. This is one of 6 butterfly wing nuts that are on the tank. This is what secures or fastens the whole top of the tank to the body. There's one in the rear and one on the front. I also have one on each corner. So there's a total of 6. And they hold the, gravity and those wing nuts hold the whole thing together. So this is the inside of the tank. Right now I'm sitting in the driver's seat. This here is a periscope. It's mounted to the turret, so when I spin the turret, I can see left and right outside. This is my view, looking through the periscope. It's kind of hard to see outside. Let's see if the aperture of the camera can't really deal with the light after looking through that dark shaft there. So I can see my truck parked in front of the tank. Okay, over here on the right is the instrument panel. We have a master switch. Now, when I put the master on, it energizes a small light right above the instrument panel. And I have a couple switches here. This is an ignition kill switch. Over here I have dome lamps, which I'll show you in a few minutes. And we have blowers. I actually have blowers inside the turret ceiling. 2 of them to keep fresh air coming in. Over here, a carbon monoxide detector, just to be safe. This was originally a spot for some sort of radio equipment. I removed it and put a push start in there. Okay. So I'm going to turn on my dome lights. I have 3. I have one under the right sponson. I have one on a turret ceiling right behind the periscope. And I have one under the left sponson. Okay. I have a choke handle, and this is really cool. This is supposed to be my primary method of seeing, although I have to admit that I think I might like the periscope better. Okay, that is a backup camera that I mounted on the front of the tank, and so I can see what's in front of the tank as I'm driving. It has I guess about 120-degree field of view, but it's not really enough to see left and right. I gotta turn the dome on now. Turn the dome blower on, because it's getting a little hot in here. And now, if we look up, we can see that they're spinning on both sides. Okay. The turret is on a bearing that runs around the whole turret ring, but my method of turning the turret is to grab a left handle or this right handle and then just drag it along. And outside, that makes the gun, makes the turret come to life. I have 6 of these aluminum brackets that I found on eBay. They're nice because they already had all the slots cut in them. They keep the turret from lifting up. If I go over a bump or if I'm trailering it, these will keep the turret from lifting up. Now this bar with the circles in it, that keeps the turret from shearing off the top of the tank. So I have something to keep it from moving laterally and vertically. The periscope actually can be raised slightly and lowered slightly or pulled inside the tank completely. And I ordered an extra 2 of those brackets that are holding the turret on and found a way to make it work just like a real tank would, where you would loosen this knob to either install it or change its position or remove it. So most of the interior is painted white. If you look up front, underneath, inside the sponson boxes, in the back, on the engine cover, I just installed this aluminum plate, steel plate rather, in the back to try and reduce the amount of carbon monoxide and heat that would come into here. So far I haven't had that alarm go off. I'm hoping it's not defective and that my ventilation is just working. But I can easily lift the hatch. Trying to drive while having my head out of the hatch is going to be tricky because I'm not really sure how I can make the seat raise up and down like a real tank. Alright, well that's the interior for now.